If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, and so many more places. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, it's totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome back to Real Talk with RJ. Today we're going to be talking about the courage to change. Last time in our last episode, we actually spoke about the desire to change. Now what comes after a desire? All actions start with a thought. So the way we think becomes who we are. That's why they say, as a man thinketh, so is he. So the important part to remember is first, you have to have the desire to change. And once you have the desire to change, you need to actually start taking steps toward change. What does that mean? That means if you are in a toxic relationship, there is no chance of you ever reaching your full potential. If the partner you're dating or to whom you're engaged or even married, if they're dragging you down, there's a difference between them having a rough patch in their life and just not caring. Because ultimately, as a war veteran, when I was in combat, the last thing I wanted in shooting alongside of me is a person who's suicidal. Because if they don't care about their life, why are they going to protect me? If a person doesn't care about taking care of themselves, there's no way they're going to take care of you. So, for that matter, if a man or a woman doesn't even love themselves, it's impossible for them to love somebody else. That's a really important lesson for people to understand. A lot of people stay in a relationship thinking, maybe if I love this person, they'll change. It doesn't work that way all the time. You have to understand that each and every person has their own right to free will and free choice. People can't change for you. You should not want them to change for you because it's not going to be sincere. We talked about that a little bit in our first episode. But the important thing to understand is that if the person wants to change, they will change. This message is for those who want to change. Because if you don't want to change, you're not going to. No matter what anyone says. Even Jesus himself, if he came down there and said some great things, it's from his own mouth, but it doesn't mean that you'll change. If you look in the Bible, there's people full of that. The Pharisees and Sadducees and all these other people in the Bible, they heard him speak and still it did nothing to their hearts. Because why? They didn't want to change. They didn't want to hear truth. Truth, in their opinion, was what they agreed with. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions in today's society. People think that truth is only what they agree with. The most common reason why people don't join churches is because they don't agree with the teachings. That, in my opinion, is the dumbest reason to not join a church. It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. The only thing that should matter is it true? Now, if I walk outside of a plane and that's in flight and we're in the sky like 10,000 feet in the air, if I walk outside that plane, I don't care if I say, I have faith I'm not going to fall. If there's no reason for me to fly, I'm going to fall. Gravity will pull me down. Now, if I say I'm breathing oxygen, that doesn't mean that it's even more true than if I had not say that. The fact is that we're breathing oxygen. That's a truth, no matter who's saying it. So me saying I'm breathing oxygen does not make the fact that I'm breathing oxygen more true. And if I say I'm not breathing oxygen or I don't believe I'm breathing oxygen, it doesn't make the fact that I'm breathing oxygen false. Truth is truth, regardless of who agrees with it or disagrees with it. And it's the same thing for change. People are going to change if they want to, and they won't change if they don't want to. No amount of money or loving relationships or influences can make a person change if they don't want to. So rather than try to get your significant other, your spouse, your boyfriend or girlfriend or whomever, whatever partner or friend, rather than try to get them to change, help them see their potential. And maybe they may want to change once they see the potential that you see in them. But now that's important too. Don't try to project your potential onto them. You need to see them. You need to see them through unbiased eyes. You need to see them with honest eyes. Don't walk up and talk to a person that can't even read and can barely speak and say, you could be the president of the United States. You can't unless America becomes dumb. Well, there are a lot of people that are increasing in that population. But the important thing is to understand that if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we have to also be honest with them. If a person wants to change, they're going to change for themselves, and it can only be for that motivation. Now, if you want to change, we talked about in the last episode, it's important to line up every choice, every opinion, every action has to line up with the goal of who you want to become. So if you're in a toxic relationship or relationship where somebody is not lifting you up, somebody's pulling you down, somebody's not allowing you to reach your full potential, then eliminate that relationship. I used to be a player. I used to be very, very unfaithful. I was at one point extremely promiscuous, and I realized that the reason why I was so promiscuous was because of the fact that I did not love myself. And that's why I say from experience, if a person doesn't love themselves, there's no way they can love you. I told a lot of women that I loved them, but the truth is I didn't, because as I said, I didn't love myself. Once I learned to love myself, I was able to fully understand what love is. If you were invited to somebody's house for dinner, and there's a lot of other friends over there, you would not, like, let's say that the host gave everybody a seat at the table, gave everybody a plate, but sat your plate on the ground next to the dogs. You would look at that host and be like, dude, I'm not a dog. I'm not eating down there. You either give me a seat at the table or I'm leaving. Why is that your reaction? It's not so much pride. It's because you know you're not a dog. You know at that point, at least, your worth when it comes to that situation. Now, if you love yourself, you know what you will and will not do, because you will not allow yourself to do things that are not characteristic of you. So if you're in a relationship with somebody and you love yourself, you're not going to cheat on that person, even if that person is bad. Why? Because you're not going to degrade yourself to the level of that person. You're not going to degrade yourself to doing something just to get revenge off of some person. If you're in a toxic relationship, get out of it. If it's not helping you grow, get out of it. If you're in a relationship with someone who does not want to grow and you want to grow, get out of it. When I started talking about that subject of me being faithful, because I was bad. I used to flirt with married women. I used to mess around with married women when in relationships. I was a dog. And I'm not saying that to boast. I'm saying that to share that because I was stupid. I was not a man. I was an adult boy. Because men don't cheat. Women don't cheat. Adult boys and adult girls do whatever their whims tell them to. So I had a friendship with this woman that I've known for over 20 years, since middle school. And when I became faithful, she was married, and her and I used to flirt all the time. But when I became faithful, I made changes in my life. And one of the changes that I made was that I no longer flirt with or date married women or women in committed relationships. So I was single at the time and she was married. She continued to flirt with me, and I asked her multiple times, please stop flirting with me. As long as you're married, I don't want to flirt with you, and I don't want you flirting with me. I changed. I improved in that aspect, and I need you to support that. You're my friend. I don't want to lose you. Please stop. She continued to keep going. She would not respect those boundaries. She continued to flirt with me. And after the third warning, I told her, I pretty much gave her an ultimatum. Look, I love you. You're my friend. I've had you as my best friend for over 20 years. This is the last time I'm going to ask you to stop violating that line. If you're not going to trust me, if you're not going to respect what I just asked you to do, I'm going to end this friendship, and I will never talk to you again after that, because I know that it will always go back to square one. For a second, she respected that line, and then she started to complain about it, and she started to say, well, it feels like you're holding me, on a leash. You're not letting me be myself, and I love you. You're supposed to be with me, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, obviously you're not going to respect that line, so I'm just going to end this friendship. It really sucks, but I really wish you would have respected it. Goodbye. And I said her name, and I ended the friendship. And it was hard, but the fact is, I changed for me. And any and every influence in my life that will not respect or support the change for the better is not a friend, but a hindrance. And the only people in life who hinder you are enemies. Real friends will never ask you to do something that will get you in trouble. Real friends will never ask you to do something that is beneath you. Real friends will always help you grow. During a part of that change in myself, I wanted to stop cursing, and I wanted to stop making fun of people. So, I was part of a group of people that used to love making fun of other people. And it would trigger me too. Like, as soon as I saw somebody that had a funny face, I would make fun of them, start making jokes, not necessarily to their face. I wasn't afraid to. And there were times when I did make jokes to people's faces just to prove a point, to say what I say behind someone's back, I'll say it to their face. But these people did nothing to me. So in a way, I was also a bully. Even though you're not bullying someone to their face, you could still be a bully, even if it's behind their back. So I was like, man, the group of people around whom I associated, they don't like hypocrites. So if you've already opened a door of establishing that you're this type of person, and all of a sudden you switch up on them, they will get mad, and it will cause a lot of problems for you, socially. So I try to figure out, I want to change. How am I going to change without, seeming like a hypocrite? Because I want to be sincere about my change, but I don't want to sit there and, push it on anyone's face, or lift my nose to people, or make them feel like I'm laughing in their face or judging them. So I went up to these individuals and I said, hey guys, I need your help with something. And they're like, yo, what's up? And, as a sidebar real quick, each person around whom I associate often, especially those I consider friends, they're real and they're honest. If I got my head up my butt and I can't see it, they'll be the ones that say, dude, get your head out of your butt and start behaving the way you're supposed to. You're better than that. Like, they will tell me the truth, whether I want to hear it or not. That's why they are in my inner circle. I don't let yes men in my inner circle, because yes men will get you in trouble. Yes men are the kind of people that if you tell them, man, I'm just so stressed out in my relationship, I can't stand my wife right now, my fiance or my boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever. Yes men are the kind of people that would be like, well, let's go out and get some other ones. There's other ones at the club. And real friends will be the ones that if you say, I'm so tired of her, I just want to get out and I want to go meet some other women, your real friends will be like, dude, if you do that, I'll kick you in the face. You got a good woman. Don't be stupid. Or they'll say, you know what? If you don't like her, if you don't want to be around her, then you need to make some choices to change that. But cheating is not the answer. That's not you, and that's not going to happen. So in this instance, going back to the story I was talking about, I walked up to those guys and I said, hey guys, I really want to change. And like, one of my biggest flaws is that I make fun of people. And I really stress, this is not a subliminal to you guys. You guys can go ahead and talk or act however you want. This is not about you. This is about my personal growth. I want to change, but I have a problem. Like, I make fun of people a lot and I don't want to keep doing that. So I would like your help. If I do it, will you please call me on it? I need your help. Just help me do it. Like, call me on it. I will not justify it. I won't make excuses. I know you guys will listen for it, and I just call me out, please, so I can stop this. And they smiled. They're like, oh, heck yeah. If we get to call you out on stuff, oh, yeah. It was embarrassing the first couple of times I got called out on. But each time I forced myself to be humble and say, you know what, you're absolutely right. Thank you for that. And I stopped my joke in its tracks. Even if it was funny, I was like, oh, I got a good one. That guy's forehead just looks like an IMAX movie theater screen, or whatever the case may be. I would have such a great joke and I would stop it in its tracks. But that's called accountability. If you want to change, change has to fit the entire spectrum. You can't say I'm going to change only when I'm in a good mood. I encourage you involve your friends, involve your inner circle, the people who are really honest, involve them. Tell them that you want to stop doing XYZ. If you want to stop drinking, involve your friends and ask them, hey, you guys can go ahead, but please, no matter how bad I want to drink, don't let me. Stop me from it. Remind me that I want to stop drinking, or remind me that I want to stop cussing. I need you guys to open your ears and help me out on this. You're my friends. I really need your help. Real friends will be right there for you. And you know what the interesting thing is in my story? The guys with whom I associated and asked for the help, they actually stopped. They stopped making fun of people. They were very supportive, and they stopped making fun of people around me. I didn't expect that, but the example that I was setting influenced them to be better. So they stopped making fun of people. So you never know how your change will affect others, or affect others, not infect. You never know the ripple effects of your example. But if you do your best to be the best version of you, other people will feel that. That real sincerity is what's going to change them and help them want to change. So having the courage to change requires accountability. You have to be accountable when there's no one around. You have to be accountable when people call you on it. And I encourage you, invite people to call you on it. People that you know mean well. I mean, don't ask the office snitch to come over there and call you on it, because they're probably going to call you on it over the loudspeaker. Attention Walmart shoppers, Beverly is, she's cussing in aisle 2. She asked me to call her on it. Just wanted to let you know you're cussing and this is not okay. That's not somebody you want to ask for help. You want somebody that actually cares about you, genuinely actually is concerned for your welfare and well-being. That way, it's not coming from a place of judgment, but from a place of love. And remember, no matter how mad you are, remember, you want to change. So if you're not feeling like changing at that moment, that's when you got to do your work. Remember that mostly. Change requires effort, even when it's inconvenient. If you always make justifications just because you're feeling some type of way, you're never going to change. Take those steps forward. Change is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but that doesn't give you the justification to say, well, I'm trying. No. Are you honestly doing your best? That's the standard. Trying is not enough. If you want to change, change. And remember, don't settle. I've heard this. One of my friends told me this quote that he read from a book. I apologize, but I don't remember the book or the title. But he said, and I quote from an unknown source, of course. He said, don't settle for good looks, end quote. That's really deep. When I heard that, I was like, wow. Because we've always thought that good looks are the standard. But it's so interesting because good looks don't make a good person. A good heart, a good character, that's what makes a good person. People don't fall in love with good looks. They fall in love with the character of the being. Yeah, in my opinion, the way I always tell people is looks make me look, but personality is what keeps me looking and what makes me fall in love. So just because you're talking to a handsome guy with an amazing body, or a gorgeous woman with an amazing body, or someone that just has a smile that makes you melt, doesn't mean that they'll stick by your side if you lose everything. Doesn't mean that when you're moving into a new building, a new house, a new room, etc., that they'll pick up the other side of that table and help you carry it. Doesn't mean that if you're feeling sick with a fever and you can't get up, they will stay up and not sleep to take care of you. If you cannot sincerely see the person you love, or the person you are dating, or married to, or engaged, if you cannot see that person staying up all night long to keep your fever down, or feeding you soup because you're too weak to eat, if you can't see that woman standing by your side and telling them, don't you dare unplug that machine, you keep it going, do whatever it takes to take care of her or him. If you can't honestly see that person doing that, you are with the wrong person. If you have money coming in and you lose it all, will that person still be there? Change is a lot of things. It's not just about your character, it's about your relationships. If your friends are not supporting you to be better, they're not your friends. If your friends get mad at you because you want to change for the better, and they're mad at that because they would rather stay out and keep doing the same old things, they're not your friends. They're your road dogs. There's a difference. Real friends will support you to change for the better. They're like, you know what? If that's what you want to do, go for it. Don't think I'm gonna stop drinking. You go ahead and have fun. But I'm gonna keep doing me. But I love you and I support you. That's what a real friend will do. I have different friends in different religious beliefs, and each one of them support me on doing what I believe is best for me. And if they think that I'm doing something that is not the best or in my best interest, they'll call me on it. They'll say something, they'll speak up on it, and I'll hear their opinion. There's sometimes that I don't agree with their opinion. There's other times that I do. You're not always going to agree with your friends, but it's important to know that every time your friends speak to you, it's coming from the right place. It's coming from a place of love and sincerity. And then sometimes you disagree with them and find out that they were right. So try to listen to the advice you get from your friends from a neutral perspective, because sometimes they can see things that you can't. And sometimes your friends have better eyes to see the character of the person you're dating than you do, because it's possible that you may be blind to good looks and a nice body, but they're looking at the character to make sure that their friend is safe. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to the show again. Today we talked about having the courage to change. Wimps and followers don't really make much change. It's the leaders and the courageous who change, because they won't let anything get in their way. Change for the better. You deserve it, because there's only ever going to be one of you in the history of this world. You have a great day. Thank you for spending time on Real Talk with RJ.